Rescue Center was established here at this site in 1980. Our main goal is to rescue and rehabilitate native species of birds that have either been orphaned, injured, or ill. Main goal being to have them at the center, to treat them, to get them conditioned back for release. The second thing that we really like to do is educate the public on the natural history of the birds and the importance of them in the environment around us.
This is a great horned owl who came to bird rescue now nearly 15 years ago as a young bird, but unfortunately he wasn't able to be put back in his own nest, and so he never really learned the ropes of being an adult owl. Great horned owls stay with their youngsters for several months of time, and so putting them back in the nest is what we do with most of the young hawks and owls that come in.
In about a month and a half, these counters will run completely full of baskets of birds. Any open space that you would see that's just counter will be filled with a baby bird basket with as many as 5 baby birds. So this is the isolation room, and we use this room to isolate different types of birds, and they might need to be isolated for different reasons. Birds such as quails, doves, and our native pigeon are prone to having high bacteria and parasite loads, so we keep them in a separate room. That way there's no cross-contamination. We do a lot of feeding, and 2 different types of food prep goes on at the center. One is for the adult birds, where we're chopping up any range of food from blackberries to blueberries, hard-boiled egg to broccoli. For the other type of food that we're going to be using is for the baby birds. We do use the prepped food, the fruits and vegetables, but we also are going to be using a lot of formulas. So every 2 hours we have to mix a whole new batch of formula, clean out their syringes and their feeding trays. We feed a lot of mealworms at the center, and mealworms are the larval phase of the mealworm beetle. Birds think they're kind of like the see's candy of the bird world.
The majority of the work that's done around here is done by volunteer staff. We do have some paid staff, but as a nonprofit organization, most of the operations are run with the help of volunteers. Our greatest need for volunteers is between the months of April and September, where we can receive up to 70% of our annual intake during those months. There are days in the baby bird season, as we call it, where we can receive up to 50 birds in a day.
If you find an injured bird, you should call us right away at 523-BIRD, get some advice from somebody on the phone. The information that we give you on the phone message will be keep it warm, dark, and quiet.
This is a female red-tailed hawk. They're very common in this area. She arrived here in 1994 with a broken wrist. She was found by the roadside. The injuries were not too serious. She was able to stay with us as a resident education bird. The injuries were too serious for her to be released. The flight that you just saw is probably about the best she can do.
So there's a general progression through the Center for the Birds. When they first come in and they're rehabilitating and getting over injuries or illnesses, they stay in one of the rooms inside the center. When their illness is pretty much taken care of, we have to go on to the next phase, which is conditioning the bird. So the aviaries would have these birds put in there so that they can get some weathering, get reacclimated to the temperatures that are outside that particular time of the year, and to learn how to use debilitated wings or legs, and just to build the stamina back up from being enclosed in a small area for a while.
All releases are memorable and wonderful. That's really where we shine, when we get a chance to see one of the birds go back into the wild where they belong and fly off into the distance.